What's going on, everybody? There has been a lot of Dying Light 2 news since my last video, so today I'll be breaking down all of it and letting you know my thoughts. I will include timestamps in the description as well as the pinned comment. First up, there was a hotfix sent out to PC that made some slight changes. In this, there was a EULA update that made it more clear that mods are not cheating as long as they fall within Techland's mod policy. They're also adding a new option to purchase 100 Dying Light points pack. This is in response to the backlash they received for introducing the Dying Light points in the first place, but I'm not sure if this is the right move to do, to be honest. Eventually, they are going to add the ability to purchase parts of a bundle instead of the whole thing, but no word on when that's going to be happening. For the fixes, it was mostly related to stuttering issues on all platforms and some crashing on PlayStation 4. They did mention that the glitch for picking up the GRE anomaly inhibitors multiple times has been fixed. Not sure about the other glitch where you get one from just joining someone's game, but I was never able to replicate that one anyway. I believe that most of the other glitches I've mentioned in the last update are still working though. At the time of recording, this update has not come to consoles, but it should soon. A roadmap was dropped and it gave a ton of information on what's going to be happening for the rest of the year. One thing I did notice is that there's no specific dates to timeframes other than the events. I feel this is a good move on their part since all the other roadmaps have promised content by a certain time and it didn't always release when it was supposed to. I want to talk about the events first as there is a ton to go over with the other information. There's actually a surprise mini event this weekend that was not on the roadmap. Now, it's not something you can find on the Pilgrim Outpost website either, but you can play it in the game. All you need to do is eliminate 30 enemies with the golden explosions. The golden eggs can be found on cars, buses, and on special infected, but I find them mostly on volatiles. Once you reach the goal, you'll receive the Ancestral Dragon Blade in your Stash Extra tab. This weapon is similar to the Lunar New Year weapon, but with a different color scheme. This event ends on October 2nd, so jump in the game and complete it before it's gone. We're also going to be getting a Vampire the Masquerade event soon. This was accidentally leaked with the Payday event, as some people got this one instead of that and were actually able to complete it. I'm looking forward to this one as it seems the potions or inhalers you get give you some good effects that'll be fun to mess around with. After this is the Halloween event. No information has been given about this one yet, but I do hope it's better than last year. Last Halloween was not a bad event necessarily, except for the fact that there were a lot of bounties that required co-op, and being forced to play online is not a good move. The other rewards looked cool, but the stats were bad unless you spent a ton of time farming or glitching to get the best stats you could. I also want to see more Halloween-themed zombies and humans. The pumpkin tiles were nice, but throwing in some zombies wearing sheets, or bolters carrying a treat bag, or just some generic costumes on different enemies and NPCs would be a really nice touch. The next thing they show is the For Honor event. If you've never played For Honor, it's a multiplayer game where you mainly play as either a Viking, Samurai, or Knight, and fight others in various different match types. I hope that during this event you get some kind of reward related to one of those factions, like maybe the Samurai bundle. I'm interested to see what this is going to turn into. Then they show the Winter event. Just like the Halloween event, we have no details on it yet. Just like I mentioned before, I want the rewards to be better than last year. Give us something cool like the snowball that was in the first game, or frozen enemies turned into snowmen. The biggest thing I want from this event is a Santa tile. I mentioned this last year and we never got to see it, but I would love to see volatiles wearing Santa hats and possibly even having a big white beard. It would be absolutely hilarious and it would be fun just to see that. The last event that's shown is the 2nd anniversary event. This could be anything, so I hope they go big for the event that starts year 3 of the game. The biggest thing for all of these events is that I hope the rewards are worth it and playing them is actually enjoyable. Now let's get into the content they'll be releasing for the rest of the year. So the first thing they show is that we're going to be getting new missions to play in the game. The first one of these is the co-op missions. We don't know if they're going to be a story related to them or not, but it is something extra to do in the game. Then they also show board quests. This reminds me of the board quests from the first game. They'll probably be more generic quests that may be repeatable, which I'm perfectly fine with as this means there's more things to do in the game after you finish. The last thing they mention is the Repeatable GRE Anomalies. This is huge as before they've just been a one-time thing and lots of people, myself included, felt as though anomalies were extremely underutilized. I do hope that the rewards you get from defeating them multiple times are at least somewhat decent. Next thing they show is Firearms. This has been a highly requested feature since day one and they're finally adding them into the game. These look like a ton of fun to use. I just hope that they can find a good balance and don't force you to use them like they did in the first game with the human enemies. Then they show off the Tower Raid. We still don't know the specifics of what it's going to look like, but this is another highly requested feature. This could be something similar to the Bozak Horde or the Huron Prison from the first game, where you get better rewards the higher up you go. Another thing they show is that we will finally have the ability to repair weapons. Yes, I'm aware that the Korek charm repairs weapons, and with the blueprint system you can just build the weapons again. However, there are a lot of people that don't even know about the Korek charm and may not even like the blueprints. This will give players the ability to keep their favorite weapon for much longer and not have to worry about them breaking or finding an Easter egg item to repair it. Next, they show new enemy variants. I feel like these are going to be similar, if not the same, as the elemental goons that were added in the game last year. This time I hope we get the same elemental variants for all normal and special infected. Fighting an electric volatile would be insane and a lot of fun. We're finally getting actual knives and pole arms added to the game. I'm mostly excited for the pole arms because stabbing zombies with spears would be so much fun. Currently in the game you can only throw spears that you find and are a single-use item. I can't wait to see the different variations that will be offered. Some free outfits are going to be coming as well. This is nice as they did this for a little while before but stopped in favor of bundles. The biggest outfit addition that people have been requesting is the country flag outfits like they had in the first game, so hopefully we'll see those soon. Next up is text chat. This is another feature that's been requested for quite a while. Currently the only way to talk in multiplayer is through voice chat or using a third-party program like Discord. The problem with this is that if you're joining a random person's game, then they may not have voice chat turned on. With text chat, it'll be a lot easier for people to communicate with each other. Another huge thing they're adding is gear and mod dismantling. I am so excited for this because this means we should finally be able to get rid of the extra items from New Game Plus and the DLC that we have duplicates of. Also, being able to dismantle the mods means you can keep using your favorite weapon and change up the mods anytime you like. This is good for testing purposes, but also allows you to change the mods mid-fight potentially. The only thing missing from this is weapon transmog to remove the physical look of the mods on the weapon. Then they show that we're getting a new weapon rarity. This could possibly be higher than legendary, but another good option would be to have cool effects specific to that rarity. Think of the Chinarashi that you get from Harper, but with more weapons. We're finally going to be getting a nightmare mode. I know that so many people have been asking for this and I'm excited to see what this is going to entail. My hope is that it's not just another difficulty increase that doesn't really make much of a difference like the transition from easy to normal to hard. Also, just increasing the sponginess of enemies would be bad. Some interesting things to see could be an auto level 4 hunt at night with the exception of the tutorial. This would make it extremely difficult at nighttime since volatiles would be absolutely everywhere the second you step out of a safe zone. To make it daytime more difficult, they could add more infected on the ground and on rooftops so that nowhere is safe to take a rest. The possibilities are endless for what they could do. They're also going to be adding finishers to the game. Not sure how this is going to work right now, but it could be similar to a lot of other games where there's an icon above the head of the enemy and you press a certain button to start the finisher. Next, they're going to be adding in explosive throwing knives and throwing stars. They had these in the first game and I used them like crazy, especially the freeze variants. The only disappointing thing about this is that we're not getting a slingshot weapon. Maybe I've just been watching too much One Piece lately, but running around the city pretending to be Usopp would be absolutely amazing. The last two things shown on the roadmap are a bloom on and off switch and community mod support. The first one is a nice addition that I hope will be available for all versions of the game. The second one is what I'm really excited about. The PC community has been using mods pretty much since release, and to me this means that consoles would start to be able to access mods similar to Fallout 4 and Skyrim Special Edition. Also around this time we got a Discord AMA with Tymon that answered a lot of questions that people had. I won't be going over all of them, but I will be going through quite a few. This first question asks about how guns are going to be balanced in a game that's designed for melee combat. Tymon said that they have a few ways to do that, like maybe limited ammo, the noise they make, or even the way enemies react to being hit. Next, it was asked if every weapon type is going to have a finisher, and the response was basically no. I think there was some confusion with this question, and it was not meaning every weapon in the game, but more along the lines of machetes are going to have one, axes are going to have one, swords are going to have one, and so on. If that's what they're going to do, then I'll actually be satisfied with that. It was also asked what the incentives for doing tower raids are going to be. The answer is things like unique loot that will most likely only be obtainable by doing the raid. The question was asked if more rewards are going to be added to the legend levels. They said that there's going to be some tweaks made to the legend levels in the next couple of updates. My hope with this is that they condense some things together and add other skill improvements, as well as make them much higher percentages like the first game had. Also, adding an option to turn off your legend levels if you don't want the extra increase in damage would be a nice addition. Someone asked if there will be some kind of story for the firearms being added into the game. Tymon said there's going to be an explanation for it when they do release. I would love for that explanation to be the weapons cache that was talked about in the history lesson side quest. It would be a really nice way to add them in since the lore already has a place for them to be. Continuing with the firearm theme, another question was about modifications for them. The answer was yes, but not at first. This means we'll get some kind of mods to add eventually. I do hope it's not just elemental, but actual changes like the question suggests. Another question was about firearm variations. It was confirmed that at the beginning there will only be a few types, but more will be added later on. Next, someone asked about the new weapon repair system and how it's going to work. Tymon said that it will be done at Craftmasters using in-game resources, and at first it will be limitless repairs that you can do. A question was asked for more details on the tower raids. The answer confirms that you will be able to play solo or in co-op. This is huge for me personally, as I mostly play solo, and other games that have these kind of activities reserve them for multiple players, which locks some people out of content. Someone asked if the weather, time of day, and atmosphere are going to be getting any improvements. They said that it is in the works for the next update to include some visual and audio changes. Later on, there will be some gameplay mechanic changes to different weather. This could be interesting by making it more difficult to grab onto ledges when it's raining, or even aid in moving slower in the cold. A big question was asked about if we will get disaster relief packages like the first game had, and Tymon said yes, we will. This is great because it adds more ways to level up your legend level, and will probably add more activities to the game like the way the Dark Zones worked in the first game. Another person asked about when the next update is releasing, and they said that it's going to be late October. This is similar to most of the updates they drop and will probably come out before the Halloween event. On top of all of this, there was a trailer that was dropped for a sneak peek into the rest of the year. It mostly showed things that I've already talked about in this video, but there are several things that were brand new. First off, Tolga and Fatin are going to be returning to the game. They were teased in the Easter egg for the hoverboard when they're talking on the radio. I do remember that a while ago, Techland said they would start bringing in characters from the first game, so outside of Kyle Crane, these two are the best first additions. Next, they showed that we're finally going to be getting an FOV slider for the Xbox Series S. This is massive, as people have been asking for this since the FOV slider was introduced on PS5 and Xbox Series X. This will not be coming to PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, as the hardware most likely would not be able to handle running this game and also changing the view. Another huge thing shown in the trailer is the fact that we will be getting to keep Nightrunner tools in New Game Plus. I've been wanting this since they introduced New Game Plus, and it was super disappointing that they didn't include it until now. Originally, this was because they didn't want to break story progression, but at the same time, it's New Game Plus. You've already finished the game, so the second playthrough should let you use everything you collected previously. I also hope that the upgrade level stays the same so you don't have to level them up again, as that would be a bit annoying. Right after that, it was shown that the enemies will drop their weapons, which is a really cool feature. Not sure why this wasn't already in the game, but it is nice that they're adding it in now. We'll also be getting elemental effects from thrown weapons. I believe the way this will work is if you have an element on your weapon and you throw it, then that elemental effect will be automatically applied. I like this as it brings more versatility to the weapons and combat. They also showed that we're finally going to be getting the Scorpio officially in the game. It was teased in the E3 footage as an opportunity weapon and has only been available to people using mods until now. I'm so happy this is being added to the game. Some big things they left off in a short section were color grading upgrades, more healing consumables, and cross-gen saves. That last one is absolutely massive for PlayStation players, since there's been no way to continue your save from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. For the color grading upgrades, I really hope we get more filters like a black and white filter or a filter with selective color. At the end of the video, Tymon says that this is only some of what they can show us right now. To me, this means that we may be getting even more things than what I already talked about today. Now, there are some things that I hope eventually do get added to the game that Techland hasn't mentioned. For example, I would love to see some human fighting challenges in the Bloody Ties DLC. These were some of the more entertaining fights in the DLC, so I do hope they add them. Another thing is grappling hook skins. The option has been shown in the extras tab of the stash since release, and there still has been no word on when they'll be added. Speaking of the grappling hook, having the ability to climb the rope is also something has been requested. I believe it was suggested on the community section of the Pilgrim Outpost, so hopefully they'll add it at some point. What are your thoughts on all this new information? Are you more excited for the future of Dying Light 2, or do you feel like it's too little too late for this game? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. See you next time.